Hey, it's me, Rob. And should I have shaved my face before doing this vlog? Probably. But here we are. Today, I'm at Kennedy Space Center, and I've never been here before. So come hang out, I'll show you some stuff. We're right here at the entrance. Heroes and Legends. United States Astronaut Hall of Fame. I'm for sure gonna check that out. And right at the entrance when you come in, there's some rockets here. That's pretty cool. These things are huge, man. It turns out this is a show of some sort, so I doubt I'll be able to film inside of here, but I'm gonna go experience it and then I'll let you know my thoughts when I get out. This is right at the exit of the show. Looks like these guys did not have a lot of room to work. The capsules are pretty small. It says crammed inside this capsule for over 9 hours. More than double the distance traveled by all U.S. astronauts previously. This Wally Schirra. There's all sorts of little murals on the wall here. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. This is some stuff about what it takes to be a hero. This one here says that you got to be inspired. And it looks like they're kind of throwing some stuff to the fact that people typically think of heroes as fictional characters. So they got some old comics in here. This is kind of cool. I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to science fiction. It was kind of cool to see some of this old-timey superhero stuff. Buck Rogers pistols from 1930 to 1940. That station is passionate. Looks like there's some sports. Some throws to some sports things here, sports heroes. Buzz Aldrin had a trophy here. Buzz Aldrin's varsity letter. It's curious. There's a telescope over here. This is a home-built radio. Parts needed, a little diagram there. And a rector set. Looks like there's a few more of these keywords up. We got tenacious, discipline, and confidence. This is the Mercury Mission Control Center. Obviously just a replica. This is what it would have looked like if you were in Control Center for the Mercury mission. Rotary dial phones down there. Crazy old computers. Charts and graphs over here. And there is a movie playing over here to the left. I'm gonna zoom in for a second. That's pretty cool. And looping around over here, there's some more of these keywords. This one's courageous. There's a cool picture of a astronaut suit right here. And right over here around the corner is the Gemini 9 capsule. This is what they were sitting inside of. Next in this little Hall of Heroes is the Astronaut Hall of Fame. And there's some mannequins over here in uniform too. This is really cool. Alan B. Shepard Jr., first astronaut in space. And then there's all these dudes over here with the date and their picture and what their credential is. I'm seeing like lunar module pilot, mission specialist, science pilot. So they're all kind of like around the whole thing. There's a whole bunch of them all over the walls in here. The movie itself was okay. A lot of CGI stuff in there, and they had like this weird wind blow thing that happened with like cold air. I think it was meant to make you feel like you're, you know, like right there. It's supposed to be, you know, like a 4D thing or whatever the word is. I did not enjoy that. I don't think they needed it. But the films themselves were cool. I would watch the films again. There's some more stuff over here on the walls. But this stuff's littered all over the place here at Kennedy Space Center, it looks like. Here's another little mission control picture over here with the old phones and the old like modules or whatever you want to call them. That's pretty bananas. All right, we're gonna get out of here and go check something else out. In the center here is the rocket garden. These are actual rockets here at Kennedy Space Center. They just were never launched. They just never used them, but these are real rockets. Obviously, if you launch a rocket into space, you're not gonna get it back. You know, it's gonna blow up, or it's, you know, there's space junk out there. So they're not reusable, these ones at least. But this is the rocket garden. They got plaques and stuff up all over the place with information about the rockets. Rocket science made simple. Shows you how the rockets work, where the fuel tank is, the ignition system, control valves. A nice cool little breakdown here. I mean, these things are massive. Look how big these things are. This is crazy. I'm over here looking at what seems to be the biggest rocket here in the rocket garden. This thing is massive. So here's one of the plaques in front of this, the massive rocket over here. Apparently there were a number of technical challenges that needed to be overcome during the early days of America's space program. Many of the early rockets would just lift a few feet off their launch platforms before falling back down and exploding. That's pretty nuts. As obvious as it seems now, these early failures demonstrated the need to hold bigger rockets on the platform until the liquid fuel engines could build up enough thrust to safely lift off from the launch platform. They got an arm here, the Saturn 1B hold down arm, that holds them in place until they build up enough thrust to launch them off the platform. That's pretty cool. As you can hear in the background now, it does sound like they do like tours of the rocket garden area. So if you're here and you're interested in getting some more specific information on the type of rockets and what they'd be used for, stick around for one of those tours. We might go into here maybe. I don't know what this is. It's my first time here. I have no idea what I'm doing. I didn't even look at a map. So it looks like this is called the Gateway. All right, we're inside the Gateway building now. I have no idea what we're getting into here. Feels like I'm at a nightclub. Oh, this is cool. We got some rockets up on the ceiling here, and some models. Looks like we got a model over here to the right of the Artemis project. With like the scaffolding, and this is really cool. This is a space launch system, the SLS rocket and Orion capsule at Launch Pad 39B for the Artemis launch rehearsal. Looks like this is a model of that. There's some fun facts over here about comparing it like to the size of the Statue of Liberty, and some really interesting facts of like distance traveled and how much fuel was used in order to achieve the launch. That model is awesome. Looks like there's another model over here. The Delta V Heavy. This is the largest configuration of Delta family rockets. We got the Orion capsule over here. Built by Lockheed Martin, the Orion spacecraft is designed for a new era of deep space exploration. Here it is here in the center. This looks just a bit bigger than some of those other ones we were looking at earlier, but it's still really small. So another capsule here. It looks like this is some sort of virtual reality experience. That dude in there had a headset on. New Shepard virtual flight experience. It's a 4.5 minute virtual reality experience. That looks pretty cool. This is a full-scale mock-up of a deep space habitat. This is what a deep space habitat orbiting around the moon would look like. It is 14.7 feet in diameter and 18 foot in length, where astronauts can live and work in deep space. We're going to take a peek in here real quick. Looks like they got food and water, compartments, sleeping areas, 3D printer, and some plants in space, some like hydroponic systems of some sort. That is pretty cool. This is another capsule. I'll tell you, they're really small. They're a lot smaller than I thought they would be. Here is, looks like a model of some sort of life habitat. The largest integrated flexible environment habitat launches on a conventional rocket and expands to the size of a 3-story building while in orbit. Developed and tested to meet NASA micro-meteor impact requirements. They did all this stuff that has to do to survive in space. But that sure looks a lot more comfortable than the one we just walked through over there. It seems like there's a little more space. I'll tell you what, you better be pretty good friends with the people you're traveling with, because you are not getting much personal space if you're in one of these capsules. That is for sure. Looks like there is some possibly movie experiences or video experiences of some sort up on the top level. I am not going to go up and do any of those. It's starting to fill up in here a little bit too, so this is the gateway. All right, so there's the Starbucks over there. It's so bright. I should have at least wore a hat today. I live here in Florida. I should have known. There's the Starbucks and Universe Theater over there. We're gonna go over to this little IMAX deal first though and see what's going on over here. This is just straight back from the Rocket Garden. Man, I can't even open my eyeballs, it's so bright. And I was just in the gateway too. This is why you gotta wear a hat or sunglasses when you're down here. They call it the Sunshine State for a reason, I guess, huh? So it looks like over here is another VR experience. Hyperdeck VR experience. I am not gonna go inside of there. And there is Deep Sky, an IMAX original documentary over in this theater as well. There's a cafe over here if you want to get some food. I don't know what's on the menu. Let's go in here. Let's go into this little Orbit Cafe and see what they got to eat in here. It looks like there's a menu right here on the outside. I don't know how well the camera is going to be able to see it. They got some desserts. They got a kids menu. It looks like they might have some salads. Burgers, salads, double cheeseburgers, with plenty of seating in here too. So you don't need to pack a lunch if you're coming to Kennedy Space Center. I don't know what prices are like. Just gonna sneak around the edge here. You're looking at like $9 for a burger. Buffalo chicken sandwich around $11. So I would plan to spend 10 to 15 a person if you're gonna eat in this restaurant. We're gonna go into this gift shop. It's the world's largest space shop for NASA, right here at Kennedy, which I mean makes sense, right? This is Kennedy Space Center. Of course, there's a bunch of coffee mugs and shot glasses, because why wouldn't there be? A Kennedy Space Center coffee mug is going to run you $20. You want to get you a shot glass, that's going to be about $10. There's no shortage of tumblers and drinking devices over here. I'm not going to look at all of them, although this one's cool. It looks like a little astronaut. This is actually really cool. This is only $20 too. I would buy that. I might get one before I leave. Let's see how much a NASA hoodie is going to run you. NASA hoodie only $35. It's for a 2X too. I'm going to go up these stairs over here and see what's going on the second floor. Looks like they got some puzzles. A stomp rocket. You jump on it and it shoots a rocket off. Legos. Little mini spaceships. Models. They got little space suits over here. And helmets. Just out of curiosity, we're gonna play a game here and see how much these cost. I'm gonna guess $50, $70 if you want to get in a space suit, a launch suit. You know, everything I've seen in here I would expect to see at a gift shop. But this is pretty cool if you're into NASA and space exploration and stuff. This is the entrance here, Space Shuttle Atlantis at Kennedy Space Center. And this rocket here, this rocket here is pretty massive. I'm assuming, based on how this feels, that this is not a real rocket. All right, we're entering in now. This is the main entrance. I got these quotes all over the place. The adventure has only begun. You will begin your exploration of America's 30-year space shuttle program with a two-part 12-minute show talking about the development and first reusable spacecraft, followed by an introduction to Atlantis, a veteran of 33 space flights. So it looks like it is another show. I'm not going to be able to film in there, so I'll let you know what I think when it's over. The Atlantis presentation was pretty good. It's worth noting that both of the shows that I've done so far are standing shows. They're not like in a movie theater. There's no seats. There's a bench in the back for the first part of the Atlantis one. But just a note, you got to stand up during those. And this right here is it's the spaceship. This is Space Shuttle Atlantis right here. Opened so you can see the amount of space they had on the inside, as well as the size of the cockpit and the wings and the arm and all this stuff. This is really cool. There's all sorts of like interactive pods and screens with information about the space shuttle. It looks like this is what the inside of the cockpit would look like. It's sort of split in two. There's a lot of people in there, so I'm not gonna try to squeeze in, but it looks like there's maybe some joysticks and some like buttons you can interact with. We'll just take a quick peek to the right here. The cockpit area. Joysticks, some of the controls. Looks like you can sit down up here. If you are interested in taking any pictures, if it's a day like today, just expect for people to be kind of pushing their way into the photo op. It doesn't seem like there's too much like organization or like lines or anything for any of this stuff. Just push yourself in there, get you a picture. Here's the backside of the Atlantis shuttle. This is take a look here at the bottom of the shuttle Atlantis. You can see the wingspan. This thing is really impressive. Over here, as you're exiting while you're upstairs, there is a small model of the International Space Station. That you can crawl through. The entrance is right over there. You can kind of see what it would be like to be aboard the space station. The actual space station is larger than a 6-bedroom house. Weighs almost 1 million pounds. And it travels the equivalent distance of the moon and back about every day. This climbing structure is 3/8 size replica of one part of the International Space Station. We're going down to the bottom floor now from upstairs, and there's some cool little patches here that represent each one of the different missions that space shuttle went on. That's pretty cool. I don't know what's going on in this room for sure, but this is another spot of this area that kind of makes me feel like I'm in a nightclub. It's an interesting vibe in a couple of these hallways. All right, we're coming on to the ground floor now of this Atlantis exhibit. Over here it looks like astronaut dining area. This is what it's like to try to eat when you're in space. Almost tripped. Most food on the International Space Station is canned or dehydrated. And it looks like they got some little cubbies over here. This, like a Murphy table, I guess you could call it. You can pull out from the wall. And then it looks like this is how they sleep. Strap themselves in over here into this little deal here. It's like a standing sleeping bag of some sort. That's interesting. Looks like this is a tunnel adapter truss assembly. This is pretty interesting. Little airlock, seals, all sorts of tubes and stuff in there. Shuttle launch experience entrance. This is where you can enter if you want to ride the launch simulator. I don't see a wait time, but it does look like there are some people waiting up here to participate in this launch experience simulator. They got a little landing. You can land the orbiter, what it's like to work with a robotic arm, docking with the space station. So it's like these are all sort of interactive items that you can participate in. Landing the orbiter. We're gonna go take a look at this one. It looks like there is a joystick and some pedals down here. Gives you some tips and indicators on how to land it. Looks like a lot of them are repeats, the kind of a few of the same ones in different locations. That's pretty cool. The Astro van. This is the van that carried the astronauts to the launch pad for training and launches for 27 years. That's pretty cool. I'd tell you what, this is pretty neat. It's all plexiglassed off. You cannot get inside. But it looks pretty roomy and spacious in there. Bigger than what it would be on the shuttle, I'll tell you that. All right, we're about to exit here, but we're going to take just a quick glance through this gift shop too. I'm assuming it's more of the same that we saw earlier, except for there's more Atlantis themed items in here. Tumblers, t-shirts, Legos, some hats. All right, that was the Atlantis building that we just hung out in. That was actually pretty cool. I may come back a little bit later and mess around with a couple of those simulators. All right, let's go see what we're gonna take a look at next. Maybe we'll get on one of these buses. Maybe we'll go on one of these tours for a bus tour. Maybe we'll do that next. So it looks like the bus tours go behind NASA's gates for us to visit the Apollo and the Saturn V Center. I think that's what the V stands for, is 5, right? So we're gonna go see what this is all about here at this little bus tour. They do a little photo op and they give you a little deal if you want to buy. There's like a backdrop back there before you get to the buses. And then here's the buses. They're like proper buses out here for these bus tours. So we're gonna get on board one of these bad boys.
The vehicle assembly building will not be stopping there. That'll be on your right hand side as we pass by, then directly onto the step off the left. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
rocket that you'll see standing tall in front of KSC's badging station is the Mercury Redstone rocket. It represents NASA's earliest efforts to send humans into space.
All right, we just got off the bus, and this is what the inside of the theater looks like. And here's the screens that they put the presentation on. We're in the Apollo Center. We're going through the doors now, and we're gonna go see what's on the other side. It looks like it's about to start, but this is the auditorium that the second part of the presentation is in, and it looks like this is a like the launch center for the mission.
When men first took off to fly to the moon. The tragedy of Apollo 1 had put us a year and a half behind. We were making up for it in one big leap, and we were doing it with a rocket that no man had ever flown before. You are now in the final minutes before the launch of Apollo 8, right here where it actually happened.
This is launch control, T-minus 3 minutes and counting. We have completed our communications checks with the Apollo 8 astronauts in the cabin, and the communications are go.
All systems go.
1 minute 45 seconds and counting. The first stage liquid oxygen tank has been pressurized, and the pressure is still building up. All first stage propellants pressurized at this time as we come up on the 60-second mark on a flight to the moon. Final reports coming from Frank Borman at this time. Final look at the switch list aboard the spacecraft. 20 seconds, all aspects. We are still go at this time. T-minus 15, 14, 15, 12, 11, 10, 9. The ignition sequence start. The engines are armed. 4, 3.
Continue your journey at the Lunar Theater, located near the nose end of the Saturn V rocket. Enjoy your visit to the Apollo Saturn V Center.
Something that's worth mentioning about this portion of the experience, there are bleachers to sit in, and this was actually the control room for that launch that we just watched. The seats were vibrating, the windows up here were smacking. That was really, really cool. Okay, we've officially exited the control room, and everybody is stopping to take pictures. I don't want to get in their way. You can see how massive this thing is from here. I'll try to get a better angle here in a second once it clears out a little bit. This is pretty wild. All right, I zoomed out a little bit for this one. You can kind of see some of the people at the bottom just for scale, for how big this thing really is. This is crazy. It's a little busy in here in some of the areas. Looks like they're taking a look at like the front capsule. But this thing is still going. I mean, look at the size of this thing. It's still going. It goes all the way down to the end of the building. It's so big. I believe this is a model, a smaller model of the same thing with the engines and the different compartments. This doesn't make it seem quite as crazy. seen the smaller version of it, but this thing really is huge. Looks like there's a photo op over here where you can put on an astronaut suit and get a picture. Here's some more interactive screens and things with information about the access hatches and what it was like to go to the moon. The spacesuit, the helmets, and the moon boots are over here on display. And then this is the rover. They drove this bad boy around on this thing on the moon. Wow. And this looks like a replica of the first sort of steps taken here with the American flag. The site of the lunar module. That bus ride was about 15-20 minutes from the Kennedy Space Center to this area. The Apollo 1 tribute for the first Apollo mission that caught fire. We're gonna walk through here, show our respects. There's some items here. A picture of the 3 guys that were involved. And this is a tribute again to those 3 guys, to the 3 men that were involved in that first Apollo mission. This is what it would look like inside the capsule. This presentation was probably my favorite of the 3 that I did. I really enjoyed all the information on the bus ride. I had a couple of videos, and that launch sequence experience was really cool. That was the room that they did the launch from. The seats were vibrating, those windows were shaking, and that was a really cool experience, and I'm glad that I came to do that. All right, we've looked at most of the stuff at this location. We are gonna look at this treasures gallery next. Some moon rock samples are on display. There's the flight plan from Apollo 7. This is the Apollo 14 capsule. These things are really small. I've said that a lot on this trip. I did not realize how small these things were. This is Apollo in-flight coverall garment. We got the spacesuit maintenance kit right next to it. They do kits like these to make minor repairs to their rovers or spacesuits. They have tape and patches and all sorts of stuff in case of emergencies or damage. The guidance computer. A contingency plan checklist. It looks like they were really prepared. Lunar surface maps. The training activity gloves. They use these gloves to train for the Apollo 11 moon landing. That's really cool. And of course, there's a gift shop, because why wouldn't there be? I got a Red Bull here a little bit earlier. It was only like $5.50. I was expecting things here to be more expensive. That's not too bad. I guess we looked at the menu prices earlier too at the that cafe with the chicken sandwiches and that stuff that's at the other location that we bust from. But it looks like there's more of the same items here, different t-shirts. These jackets are actually really cool. I haven't seen those yet. Let's see how much one of these costs. I am not seeing a price on there. I would not imagine that those are cheap. All right, this is also the exit to get back on the buses, which we're gonna do now to go back to like the main Kennedy Space area that we bust from earlier. All right, the last thing we're gonna check out today is the IMAX experiences. I'm gonna go check out this Deep Sky thing now. And again, I'm not gonna be able to film in there, I don't think. But if I can, I will. And I'll let you guys know what I think when I get done. It turns out that this Deep Sky IMAX experience is a 40-minute documentary. I will not be participating in the 40-minute documentary. So 40-minute documentary. And the show times are right here. 10, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, and 4:30. I have to leave soonish, so I'm not going to be participating in this. But if you do want to do it, if you come here, just make note that it is a 40-minute experience. This reminds me of Star Wars a little bit, so I wanted to do at least show y'all this. It's like a little cockpit deal, and there's like stars and planets and stuff. It's just kind of neat. Back up here so you can see it better. There's also like a little concession stand if you want to get any popcorn, drinks, or snacks for the IMAX experience. You're looking at, let's see what it says up here. Fountain soda, $4. Popcorn, you're looking at like $11. Over here is the Hyperdeck VR experience. It looks like you need 3D glasses in order to participate in this. And there's also no more reservations available today for the experience. I don't know what this is, but it obviously seems to be in pretty high demand. So, yeah, those are the things that are in the IMAX theater. Also that Kids Play Zone, which I'm not going to go look at. But yeah. All right, y'all. That's going to be it for me today here at Kennedy Space Center. I missed a few things. There's some live shows I didn't watch. There's like a Mars room I didn't go into, which I'm assuming is also pretty cool. I would definitely recommend taking the time to come here. I will be back sometime in the near future. Just spend a little bit more time poking around and watching some of the shows I missed. I had a really good time here. It was very informative. It was very educational. Yeah, I had a great time. I would for sure recommend the Apollo launch show. That was unbelievable. And I had a better time than I expected here today at Kennedy Space Center. So thanks for hanging out, y'all, and I will see you next time.